Volume of cones. This is the main lesson video. In this video, we will be able to determine volume, height, and radius of a cone. First, a little background information about what a cone is. A cone is a pyramid with a circular base. The volume of a pyramid is V equals 1/3 base times height, where B is the base area and H is the height. For a cone, you can use V is 1/3 pi r squared H, where V is the volume or the amount of space in the cone, H is the height, meaning the distance from the base to the apex. The apex of a cone, just like the apex of a pyramid, refers to its topmost point if it's setting on its base. R is the radius of the base circle, and the steps you'd go through for this: step 1, you're going to write the formula every time. That'll help you remember it for the test anyway. You write your known values, you rewrite the formula with the known values plugged in, and then you evaluate or solve. If you just have to evaluate, you can usually just plug it right in the calculator. If you have to solve, there's a little bit more involved, but still very doable. Let's look at our first example. In example 1, we're going to be determining the volume. Now, the first thing you would notice here is that since this is a cone, I'm going to write the volume formula for a cone. V equals 1/3 pi r squared H. Then I go through and identify some things. R is the radius of the base of the cone. This 4 is indicating the distance across the base, which is a diameter. We're going to take the diameter and cut it in half to get the radius. So the radius is 2. The height is the distance from the center of the base to the apex of the cone, which is 6 meters. Now we plug in our numbers. Volume is 1/3 pi 2 squared times 6. And then all the numbers are good to go. We can go ahead and plug it into our calculating device. 1/3 pi 2 squared times 6. And this gives us an overall volume rounded to the nearest tenth of 25.1 cubic meters. Of course, you could go to more decimal places if the problem indicates to do so. For this, we're going to go with 25.1 cubic meters. Okay, next example. Determine the height. All right, in this one, we do know the volume, and it's one of the other pieces of information, the height, that we need to calculate. So first, notice that it is a cone, and since it is a cone, we write down the formula V equals 1/3 pi r squared H. We're going to identify some things. R is simply just 9 feet. H is unknown, but we do know V is 956 cubic feet. Then we rewrite the formula plugging in R and V, so 956 equals 1/3 pi times 9 squared times H. Okay, from this point you can go a couple of different ways. Option 1 would be to plug this expression in your calculator and get an approximation for it. Go ahead and round it off. So 1/3 pi times 9 squared gives us 84.8. I'll go another couple of decimal places. H23 H. And the other side's still 956. I'm going to go ahead and divide by both sides by the 84.823. And this gives us H by itself. Then 956 divided by 84.823, and that's 11.27. I'm going to round that to 11.3. So the answer here, 11.3. Looks like the units are feet, so 11.3 feet. Remember, option 2 here would be at this point of the problem, just dividing both sides by 1/3 pi 9 squared. 1/3 pi 9 squared. Now this ends up being a slightly quicker method, but you're more likely to make an error unless you're really good at using your calculator. The answer does come out the same, so I'm not going to use up time on that. But the thing to remember here, when you're plugging this into the calculator, you need to do 956, divide, and then put everything on bottom in parentheses so that the calculator knows to order of operations, do that first and then divide by it. The other option is you can take the 956, dividing by 1/3 is the same as multiplying by 3, and then you can divide pi and divide 9 squared, and that will work to give you the same correct answer as well. Okay, just a couple more quick examples. Find the volume V or the height h of the cone. Write your answer to the nearest tenth. So on this first one, since it is a cone, its V is 1/3 pi r squared h. R is 6, h is 15. So V is 1/3 pi 6 squared times 15. Now it is ready for the calculator. The real benefit to writing the formula every time you do it is that you don't have to put any additional effort into memorizing a formula, because you will memorize it just by using the formula. And that's actually the best way to memorize something. You automatically memorize the things that you use, so just use it and you won't have to worry about memorizing. Okay, that comes out 565.5 cubic centimeters. The last one here on the video for right now, since it's a cone, V equals 1/3 pi r squared h, then we need to identify some things. We know that V is 7,200, R is 15. So this is 7,200 equals 1/3 pi 15 squared times h. Now if I use my quick method here, I would divide by 1/3 pi 15 squared and just do it all on my calculator. If you're uncomfortable with that, you would just do 1/3 pi 15 squared on your calculator and get an approximation for that. It's about 235.6. I'll go another decimal place, 0.62. And that is times h is 7,200. We go ahead and divide by that 235.62. And 7,200 divided by 235.62 is h equaling 30.557. I'm going to call that 30.6. So this would be 30.6 yards. All right, thank you for watching.